Jason Licht also addressed their first-round draft pick, Emeka Egbuka, the Ohio State receiver who was taken 19th overall, and how his arrival meshes with Chris Godwin's ongoing rehab from the serious leg injury he suffered on a Monday night against the Ravens last year. Here's Jason Licht.
We felt this was a pick for the future, but also for the present. I mean, you saw what happened last year. We had some injuries, and we did. The coaches did a great job with what we had. It's exciting to add him to the mix. We've got J-Mac and him now for the future, but also the present. And then still we have an elite room with Chris and Mike, and Chris is still on track. We're still shooting for week 1 with him, and this had nothing really to do with Chris's injury rehab right now. This had everything to do with. He was a player that Todd and I and our staffs obviously had a lot of meetings, but Todd and I, at the end of the day, we had some players that said, if this player is here, we're going to take him, and we're going to be happy with.
And when he was picked, somebody said, "Oh, they must be worried about Chris Godwin." Well, if they were worried about him, why did they give him $23 million a year?
Exactly. That's what I want to say to people too. It's like, no, the guys, they already gave him the Brinks truck.
And New England was going to give him $30 million or something ridiculous like that.
Right.
Like,
he turned down more.
This is simple.
Right.
You got one starting receiver who was drafted in 2014, who is getting toward the end of the road, and you've got another one who was drafted in 2017.
Yeah, right.
And at some point, you're going to need a new receiver.
Yeah.
And we talked about it before the draft, but they don't have any needs. If anything, they need to be loading up the receiver position for the future, and they did.
That's right. You're exactly right, Mike. That's the point. I mean, Jason Licht, as we've discussed before, he's one of the better GMs in football. The team, you look at it, you go, wait, there's really not any holes that you look at that were glaring. We knew the secondary is a little bit of an issue. They addressed that after the wide receiver. But, yeah, when you're good with contracts and the team building and all that, then you can be in a spot to go, wait, let's draft a guy. It's not a necessity to have him right now this second, but it'll help out right now this second, and he's going to help out a whole lot more in a year or two when Mike Evans might not be here and Chris Godwin, and we don't know. So it's a phenomenal pick from the strategy aspect. That's where it's really good. Now, Emeka Egbuka, as you know, and we talked about it, I mean, he wasn't in my top 5. He was one of the more polarizing wide receivers in the draft. There's definitely teams that didn't have a first-round grade on him. But I think, again, in a draft where not top-end players, we're seeing character, love of football, we just want a proven commodity. He is that. He's played at Ohio State. You've seen him against big-time talent. He's trustworthy that way and knows how to play. He's got NFL size. Jason Licht goes, so what if I don't think he's the sexiest guy in the world? He's going to work. He's a safe bet, and I know he's going to play hard and work hard. Let's take him. And they go with Emeka Egbuka, and I like the pick.
He said, I think on Eisen's show also, that they had Emeka Egbuka as a top.
I saw that.
Board.
That was surprising to me. Right, yeah.
Now, look, after the fact, I always say never tell anyone who you really were thinking about. Always keep it very vague because, like, if you're picking 15, you can say, hey, that was the number 1 player on our board. As long as nobody knows what your board is, to the point you've made about New England where they don't let anybody see the board, you can always say, yeah, that was our number 1 guy. But he did say that was a top 10 player for them, and they picked him at number 19 when they had the first opportunity to do so. And that was one of the guys where there was a lot of uncertainty as to where he was going to go. And could he even fall all the way out of round 1?
Right.
Like, people in his orbit were like, they
didn't know either,
of the time you got an idea. They had no idea where he was going to go.
Right. That's what I was speaking to as far as polarizing. There was teams that looked at him and, man, I like him. I think he's going to be really good in the NFL. And had other teams go, wait, he doesn't separate. He doesn't do much after the catch, right? We got kind of a second, third round grade on him. But again, it's beauty in the eye of the beholder. And I'm never going to get mad at a team because, first off, who says my value's right? I'm so sick of hearing that crap, right? Draft pundits, whatever. Well, they didn't get good value. They said that about back to Jahmyr Gibbs, right? Oh, it wasn't good value. Was it? No, I don't know. Maybe they should have picked him 6 picks before that because he's one of the best offensive players in football. So I don't look at value. I go, wait, this guy's pretty damn good at building a team. He likes him. He's convinced. I'm not going to dock him because I think he's less of a player. They're convinced he fills a void and it's going to work. And there was a let's look to the future and we need somebody right now kind of need too, and it makes sense. And I'm certainly not going to get mad at him or dock him points because he wasn't high up on my board. Who says my board's right?
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.